My dad was a prophet.
It's our culture, like the culture here too. Like my grandfather was he was suffering, and so we don't use it only for the good things. My dad's like, Santa Olvídate.
Exactly.
You're calling a saint, and you're saying, okay,
You
just
know,
take
give
him.
him, show him mercy, show him mercy, take him, show him mercy.
I'm like, what? What do you mean?
It really is, honestly. Okay, so I'm going to put the papers over here so that when there is someone that comes in, usually not too many people are brave like you if they want to sit.
Right at the front.
Right.
Brave soul.
Right?
All right, we're all
Courtney.
set. You're gonna have a lot of traffic. You're gonna have a lot of traffic because there is traffic and apparently there's a very bad accident on Bathurst.
Oh, is there?
There's a bad accident on Bathurst, so
So there's gonna be.
give it about 10 more minutes. But you're all set. You're live. You can say hi to Alex,
Hi, Alex.
Kelly, everyone. They're online.
Hi,
All right.
everybody who's online.
Alex, Kelly, Edwin.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right. Oh, we had Courtney that came to visit from Asia.
Yes.
I met him at the webinar on Friday.
I've met
at the
Courtney
seminar.
before. Well, we've seen him even at the Christmas party.
Yes.
But I didn't come there. Remember? So I couldn't make it that night. And yeah.
And
Next
he
time
was in my geographic farming. Hello,
Yes,
geographic
that was great.
farming.
Yeah.
So,
Really enjoyed that.
all right, guys, cool stuff. Cool stuff.
I
It's gonna be a
enjoyed-
good one. I'll see you in a bit. And call me if you need
Thank
anything.
you so much. That's yours too. How's it
Hi,
going, Mercedes?
Mercedes, nice to
First,
meet you.
beautiful name.
Thank you. I know, eh? It's different. Should have brought Kleenex because I'm coming down with something under this.
How are you? Hi, Mercedes.
I am from Keswick.
I know you have some of you guys are driving in from far. Here you go, darling.
Good
How's everybody
Thank
out there?
you.
Pretty good?
Yeah, everyone's good. Yeah.
I'm glad.
Hey, that's nice.
How about you?
I'm from Newmark.
Oh, from Newmark. But you so you're working here.
Oh, you were going to talk.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say. So okay, yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking.
Live in Newmark, but yeah.
Oh, boy, I live in Ajax in the Ajax office.
Because there's an Aurora.
Right? So.
Yeah. Do you go in there sometimes too? Because it's closer.
No.
No. You know him here. Yeah. Okay.
I like to drive as little as possible. So.
It's not that bad. You take Bathurst. So. Oh yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah.
I used to drive a lot for work, so now I'm happy to live in Keswick, and around the corner is my office. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I used to commute from Keswick to Toronto every day.
Yes.
How are you?
Good morning.
You said from Keswick to
Yeah.
Before you sit
Yeah.
down, grab one of the handouts.
401
That's
and
a-
the 404.
that is a
Yes.
What were you doing
It
before?
really is,
I
right?
did premium benefit sales, but I did wholesale.
Yeah.
Then it might.
So yes, my office was there, and then I did a lot
So
of
right now it's
work in LA.
Oh,
Yeah, it's fun.
Here because
Then the kids came along,
a little bit congested.
but I, stopped
And I
all that.
can't do like
Became
what my
part of
aunt
it,
used
right?
to do. Sleep,
How
you
long you been
know?
doing this anymore?
She's just always-
Since still like my first year.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
I started in September.
Oh yeah, September too. I took the summer. I got my license like in May,
Yeah.
but I'm like, I'm gonna take
Hi,
the
how are you?
summer. I'm like,
Good.
I didn't work this hard to get my license. So like,
Exactly.
so I took the
Right
summer
when
off
you
with
get
my
the
kids.
gas
and my son
station.
started kindergarten.
That's the gas
Yeah,
station
and then
for us.
Yeah. You like me so far? Oh, good.
I was in sales before for the past like 10, 15 years.
Oh yeah. Okay. So
You know,
good.
working for the big corporations and like,
Yeah, they need to pump
Yeah.
the gas.
That's
Yeah.
right.
What type of sales?
I looked most
That's
recently
right. And I
VP
work
of
mine
Hero
out of
Company.
it.
Okay.
You know, when it gets cold, it's
Before that, I
not
was
great.
Yeah.
with Auto Trader Corporation.
Okay.
For 6 years. And I'm like, you know what? You know, the pay was
Oh,
great.
my
I can't complain.
Yeah.
Great benefits. But
I took home
there was no
half
passion
of
there.
Yeah.
There was no, I guess, passion about it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I can't stay here. So like, they're just like,
remedy.
I started working here full time in February. I've only been like 2, 3 months full time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I'm not looking back.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
That's
good.
good.
It's nice when you have the sales background.
Yeah, definitely. Easier.
I worked, actually, I think Eric Eaton just switched to your office, right? Have you met
He's
him
in
yet?
the Pickering office now.
Oh, Pickering, okay,
Yeah.
you Scarborough, now he's
Yeah,
Pickering?
nice Pickering.
Okay.
Have you met with him for
Yeah,
coaching?
yeah, I meet with them quite a bit actually.
The
Yeah,
me too.
yeah. Oh, nice, he's amazing.
He is
God,
great.
he teaches
Those
you, like,
girls.
holy crap, I know, every time I leave there, like, I'm so stressed out, but in a good way.
Yeah,
Like,
I know.
what's wrong with you? Like, honestly, I just have so many things going through my mind that I'm like, you know, just trying to teach you
He's so helpful. Like he got my website up in like 30 seconds. Like, whoa.
I know, right?
Everything like, I got Eric. This is amazing.
Yeah, I just have a link that shows you how to like
Yeah.
search on your website for properties and link that, so people go to your website. He keeps saying, oh my god, this website is really awesome. Like, how do you get people to come? And I'm like, boom, nothing here, the answer. It's everything. It was a technical, you know.
How you finding the market where you are?
So, you know, everything's just keep kind of like happening and then not happening. And it's good, like the lower price point houses are really moving, like anything in and under 5, and you know, around there. But I just find that I just I'm visiting my friend's property, but it has tenants in it. And I decided last night I said, you know, honestly, that I just don't want to sell. So we're going to do it exclusive. And so I was getting all ready to get my today, sign on, and then last night I'm like, honestly, you probably should have listed.
Wow.
So FinTrack, you
It's
have
just
to
because you know
talk
it's
to
just
the
gonna
lawyer or
that on me, right? And like, you're gonna have the listing come next spring. But I'm like, yeah, but if we try to sell your house now and it doesn't sell, I won't have the listing. You know, so when the tenants arrive next spring,
The
we'll
lawyer
just
has to,
wait.
yeah, you need to do that and do it properly. So, yeah. And it would have to be listed. Or a realtor. And the realtor will do that for you.
And would they, do you think that they would buy a house with tenants in it if it looked okay?
If they look okay,
And the
maybe,
other one is
but
that. They call it mandatory. Mandatory, yeah. And
And
so it's either, it's
they
either a
really
lawyer
Such a shame.
or an accountant or a real estate agent. So it's like,
They made a mess there, they made a big mess.
someone has to be over there.
It doesn't look good, like, for $1 million home.
Yeah.
You're drawn in,
Get a lawyer to, you know,
like,
no, you send the lawyer the form by FinTrack and they fill it out there for the lawyer or whoever.
so there, it goes to the end of October, and then
So the
it gets
FinTrack, I
60 days
sent
still.
over the form.
So if somebody can get file now, they can't even, December.
Yeah, that's actually pretty simple. It can happen. All right, we're gonna get started. I don't wanna stop conversation, so you guys
Oh, no
continue.
worries.
Um,
This is your show, Sandra.
No, it's ours. You know, it's funny because, when it's a small class, I like to bring the group in and make it sound, you know, it's more warm and friendly. And you're all the way in the back. Come join us up here, please.
More intimate.
Yes, Mitra is not here. I don't think Valerie is here.
I'm here.
Oh, there you, oh my gosh, I don't know why I thought your name was different. My apologies, Mercedes. Kelly Ann, Nassim, no, Mary, Anahita, Netta's not here, Lisa, Fatima, Courtney is here, Rajesh is here. Is it Rajesh or Rajesh? Can we call you Raj?
Yeah, that's
Good morning. What's your name, please?
Anahita.
Ah, good morning, Anahita. Please, before you sit down, grab one of each. First coffee, though, that's the most important.
Mandatory.
Yes. Yeah, we do it, so let's just put it fresh. Okay, and Anne Wong. The process of elimination, last but not least, Anne. Okay, I'm gonna put my, I hope so. Put everything on silent. Okay. Don't mind my stash of Kleenex over here, I put it so that it doesn't get. How's everybody doing? Everybody good? We had a few more people here, I've got lots of headers, this is a box in your weight. And move that over here, because it doesn't look nice in front of you, you know?
That's fine.
I appreciate it, thank you, but I feel that, you know, it's not nice.
Exactly.
How's everybody, we'll wait for you, you take your time, Anahita.
I can hear you.
Good, no, but you know what, I want you settled, you know, we had that chance, so, was there a lot of traffic? We didn't have traffic, thank God, because
It was
apparently
good
there was a
today.
car accident.
Was it the bathurst measurement?
I don't know, Celeste was saying that there's a car accident in the area, so
Because
it's
I
probably
saw
gonna
something
cause.
in the,
Oh.
in the middle of the,
When I walk in front of the house, the front door of the office, and there's a cowboy parked.
What a
in front
shame.
of our-
Good morning, ladies,
Oh,
please
so
grab a
that is
handout
a
first and then
big
come on in.
house that we
Hello.
walk in the end.
Oh, look at the service. Not only are these guys wizards at what they do, but look at that. Thank you so very much. Thank you. That's awesome. I love our team. We've got a good group. Everybody's got their, okay. Now Mitra is here. And Nassim, right? Hello. You guys are so far away. I guess as it gets closer, it's harder to move as the room gets full, right? Okay, we're gonna get started. So today what we're gonna be doing is we're going to be talking about, I just wanna make sure that this is working. This is not. That's okay, we'll do manual. I can do it like this, right? Oh, she's really got me thinking this morning. Okay. Okay. That's not working. I'll get her. I'll message her. This is really, if we can use it, we use it. If not, I wing it. It's not a big deal. We always manage. Celeste. The pointer thingy isn't working. Okay, let's see if I can, there's something, oh, it's probably the battery. Yeah, won't even show up. That's okay, we'll get it going. All right, so today we're gonna be talking about role playing. So when it comes to listing, there are a lot of components to it. But today I only want to talk about a couple of things that we're gonna role play. We're gonna go through the script. I have a script here. This is a good old script that I've used for many years from Mike Ferry. It's a very long script. We're going to go through the good, the bad, the ugly of the script. But there is one portion of the script in particular that I want to really focus on today because the market has changed. Has anybody done show of hands listing appointments? Nobody does. Come on.
Like a
Nobody's
listing
done-
presentation?
Yes.
Oh, done one. Yeah.
Okay. See, I know I got some people in there that have done. Right? So who has not done a listing appointment? I'm surprised you haven't done one yet.
Well, not like formally, like, you know, just like learning how to do it, but I like popped over to friends' houses
Yes.
or
Which is
but-
sometimes even more important to know, like script, because the script is all about closing, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes when we're with friends, we have a tendency to kind of, you know, be a little more relaxed and they know us, the good, the bad, the ugly. Maybe they remember when we used to party in high school or something. And so they don't look at us the same way. So it's really important to have like a script that has like built-in closing. If you are interested in a template, I do have a template for Richard Robbins, and all you have to do is plug in information, okay? So if anybody is interested in that, email me at coachsandra@gmail.com, and we'll make sure you get a copy.
The script template?
No, it's a listing presentation template.
Oh.
Yeah, the
yes.
script is here in front of you. I'm giving you guys books. This booklet here has to do with pretty much everything from start to finish when it comes to your listing presentation, okay? Or even getting the listing, like how do I start to get the listing? So as you can see, I can go all over the map with this thing today, but we're gonna stay focused, okay? I was wanting to get this up on the screen here. I wonder why it's not. Hi, hello, Bella. Just in the nick of time. Yeah, the light is going, but it won't click over. And then usually I use this, but this isn't going. Must be the batteries. I think it's the batteries.
Got it.
Oh, she's on it. This one didn't even have to go anywhere with that. But there are different components to the listing. As I said, we're going to be sticking to more of the role play of the actual listing itself. You'll see on this handout here, before, you know what, actually, let me do a little housekeeping while we're waiting. You'll have this, everybody's got this handout, everybody's got this handout for the checklist, and everybody's got a booklet, right? Okay, good. I just wanted to
How
make
do
sure.
we start with the people that they still don't know if they want?
That's what we're gonna talk about. We're gonna talk a little bit.
I
well,
am in this situation.
Yeah, that's not role playing. That's why I'm saying,
Yeah,
whoa, we can really talk about a lot of things. So the question over here is, how do I convert someone, right? So I'm gonna answer it only because we're waiting for the screen, right? Conversion takes time, and everyone is a little bit different, okay? The first thing you gotta find out in converting is why. What's their motivation, okay? If you don't know their motivation, then you're a little bit at a disadvantage, right? Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. We're in business. Yay! It was the battery?
No, it was actually the USB.
Oh, yeah, then I'm really.
Yeah, she's like, what's a USB? It's okay, I
You
just
lost
learned
me
it.
at battery.
I just learned it now.
You lost me at battery, okay? Just so you know.
Oh,
Again, technology don't mix. Thank you, Celeste.
It's a few things, you're practical.
Okay. All right, so you would need to know their why. So when you're qualifying a seller or even a buyer, okay, but qualified, because you'll see all kinds of confusing stuff to qualify. I remember when I was a rookie, oof, there were pages. Oh, ask them 21 questions to qualify. I just lost my head. What the heck? How am I going to ever do this? I'll never remember. Simple thing. Where, when, why. Okay, now I added another one. How long? Okay, so where do you plan on moving? Right, so we need to know where they need to go. When, we need to know the ideal when they're planning on moving, right? Like what are, and the reason why, what's their motivation? And the reason why I ask how long is because it tells me a lot about the client, okay? So let's use just a very simple example just to drive that point home. So let's say I'm talking to someone, Courtney, I'm chatting with you, okay? And I've door knocked you. And we've had a nice conversation. You met your wife. I don't know if you have a wife or not. I'm not trying to crap your. Okay, because if you're single, I don't want to cramp your style for ladies. Okay.
How are they not?
Okay, so he's married. I can
Okay,
proceed.
so
Well, I'm gonna leave that one alone. I could joke all kinds with that one. We're gonna leave that one alone. I need a Kleenex.
Oh boy, you're gonna get me in trouble, Sandra. You're gonna get me in trouble.
With any luck, I'll help you even with that. Now, when it comes to Courtney, let's say I've door knocked you and I've asked, and you've said, you know what, I'm thinking about it. Yeah, we've given it some thought. So I would proceed to ask, oh, where are you planning on moving, right? And he would say, oh, you know, I want to move out of, I don't know where I want to move out from, and I want to move north or something. Oh, okay, I can understand that. When ideally would you like to move by, right? And he would tell me when. When I ask why, he will say to me something like, I've been living with my parents. You know, I'm now married, living with my parents. And, oh, that's interesting. And so I guess, yeah, that's a little comfortable, but I guess it must be tricky as well. Yeah, you know, they're my in-laws, he replies to me, right? They're my in-laws, I really want to get out. But his wife might not be as motivated, right? So there's the why. And then I'll say, Courtney, how long have you been thinking about making this? Oh, we've been looking for the past 4 years. Okay? I wish I was exaggerating. I really wish, but these are some of the answers you're going to get. Certainly some of the answers that I got. So we've been searching for the past 4 years. If the right home comes up, like we want to move out, but we want to make sure everything flows properly. Okay. So I'm going to go, oh, nice meeting you. Bye. Okay. I can't qualify. I can't do much with him. I could babysit him, as I call it. I would call Courtney a shot in the dark. Okay. But I'm not going to spend too much time in attempting to convert Courtney at this stage. Okay. Having said that, though, 2 months later goes by, I'm door knocking. I see Courtney outside with his wife. Oh, hey, hi, how you doing? Courtney, how's it going? You know, we've been chatting. I've been sending you the odd email. Are you receiving the emails? He says, yes, 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 or whatever. We've spoken a couple of times. I haven't had a chance to meet your wife. Oh, so nice to meet you. And I see she's pregnant. My goodness, how far along are you? Well, you know, I'm actually, I got triplets due in 8 months. Okay, I'm exaggerating to make a point. And Courtney now starts saying, yeah, Sandra, we really need a house because the basement apartment was great while it was the two of us, but now that we're gonna have 3 babies, we really need a house. The motivation changed. Okay, so we have to be constantly reevaluating, all right? And how do you do that without looking like a psycho, right? Because, you know, hey, all right, let's requalify you again. Let's requalify you. You know, I would always say something like, you know what, I just want to make sure I'm doing a good job for you. I want to just reevaluate these questions here and make sure, has anything changed or is everything still the same? Okay, so I go through the when, where, why, and for obvious reasons. Now, I've exaggerated a little bit, but that is actually a true story. I have dealt with that in the past. That is actually a true story, okay? But I exaggerated. I exaggerated just a bit, okay? But the motivation will change. The key thing here is asking questions is your best friend. It's called Ask, Question, Close. Anybody watch Jordan Belfort? We've got Jordan Belfort. Oh, I just got notification. Looks like, Harry and Meghan had a baby boy.
Yes,
I just got the news thing. I know, it's not cute. And it happened while our class happened. This is great. Now I forgot what I was gonna say.
About a triplet.
I'm teasing.
Qualifying.
Exactly. So the qualifying is very important, but you also know what.
That's what you're
What's
gonna say.
that?
I was gonna say something about Belfort.
Oh yes, Jordan Belfort. But asking the questions. Thank you. Ask, question, close. Asking questions is your best friend because that's where you gather the information in which to close. Okay. So if I were to ask someone, can someone sell me a pen? I know some of you already know this because I've done this many times. Can someone sell me a pen? Sell me a pen. All right, let's start with you. Because she's looking at me all confused. So let's give that a go. Sell me a pen.
You want to buy something? You want to write something?
Mitra's saving you. Do I want to write something? Have you seen the movie, Mitra? Mitra's going by the movie. Very, very, very good start. Very good.
Yeah.
All right. So
yeah. What do you normally write it?
excellent. Okay. And well, you know what? I do like pens. I really like pens.
What type of pen?
I like one that flows a little bit with a nice flow.
Okay, good. Do you know which color would be your favorite?
You know what? Yeah, I do like red. Okay, so now she's asking me a lot of good questions. We're gonna get into a little bit deeper. And the reason why I'm gonna say a little bit deeper is because you're leaving me open to say no to you or tell you where to go.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna fine tune it a little bit, but very good, ladies, both of you, hats off, like very good. So you would be asking me, so how long have you been thinking about purchasing a pen, right? And then, and you'll start like that. You started just fine too, right? And you would say, what do you like in a pen? That's too open-ended and I might short circuit, okay? It's like asking a baby when they're like 10 months, what would you like to eat? And those of us with young kids, right? Well, my kid used to look at me like this, but if I say, would you like yams or peas? My kids would tell me which one they wanted, okay? So I've got to help close the situation, okay? So what type of pen do you like? Do you like one that flows? You know, did you want ink or would you like, you know, a ballpoint? Because at this point, I might not know. I might not know what to even answer. Oh, I don't know, as long as it's a nice pen. And I've left you hanging. Okay, so we're going to qualify. So what color of pen do you prefer? Do you like black, blue, red? What is your preference? You're leading them, okay? And people are begging to be led. Trust me when I say that. The last time you were at the dentist, the last time you purchased a vehicle, the last time you were purchasing a home yourself, you wanted somebody to help you with that decision. Human beings are begging to be led and guided. Okay, so don't feel bad. Ask the questions. Okay, so now just to go back to this, and then we're going to get back onto the course content. What is their motivation? Why? Why are they thinking about moving this client that you're wanting to close?
For the same story that you said?
No, your client, you were saying, how do I close them, right? You were saying that
For
you
my
have,
clients?
yes.
Yeah, actually, they never had a thought of moving, so I door knock, and I have a real client for them. I have a
Okay.
real buyer for
So
them.
what's their motivation then if they've never thought about it?
They are thinking if they can sell their house at a good price,
So money is their motivation,
money, yeah,
okay? So it's a decent motivation, but it's not a great motivation.
it's not.
But if the numbers work out for them, then that's a good motivation, right? But other than
Yeah.
that, yeah, it's not very good. You gotta show them the money. Gotta show them the
So,
money.
You know, it's not an easy thing.
No, it's not, but you presented a buyer and you continue
I'm
with that
just
and see.
thinking, how can I end it up with listing their house? You
You
know,
can't
because I don't know
push.
if my clients would like the
It's
layout.
a simple,
and
I'm gonna
everything.
stop you right there, because you see what happens is, how many good leads do you have for listings right now?
What do you mean?
How many leads do you have right now for a listing? Is this the only one?
The buyer, you mean?
No,
the-
this
the-
listing.
The listings, I have two.
Okay. If you had 10 really good people that needed to list right now, how would you treat this client? Would you let somebody help her?
You don't need to spend much time with them because they're not very motivated, so
Right.
focus on the people that
Right.
do. And you also don't need to list their house, because if you're not looking to list, you can do an exclusive and just sell their house. If they wanna sell, you can bring the buyer through, have them come through, you don't need
Exactly.
to list their house.
But you see, she wants to list it. So you're getting yourself, your expectations are getting in the way of you servicing. And I would say you're doing that because you don't have any other really good leads.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're wanting to do something, but you may not close it. So don't spend too much time on it. Act as if you have like a ton of leads for listings and make decisions based on that. If they're good, you can show them the money. It's simple. I give you the answer. If you can show them the money, then you go ahead and you close it. But if you can't show them the money, you can't close it. Their motivation's not strong enough.
But you can book an appointment, right? Like just have
Absolutely.
the, yeah, have
Go
the
through
sellers
process,
taking
bring the buyer through. You can give it a
I will
go.
do that, for sure, I will
Yeah.
do that.
But don't push it.
No, I can't.
Go with them. Yeah, go with them. All right, let's get going with this class today, guys. Good discussion. So as I said, there are so many components to the listing. I'm gonna go through them very, very quickly, just so that we cover all bases, okay? But what I wanna focus on is on what to say in a listing presentation, okay? So, but I know you've got lots of questions about listings in general, so I'm gonna address them very, very quickly, and then we're gonna get going with the actual role playing. Okay, so prior to arriving at your property, what do you need to do? You need to ask the seller so you can, details of the home so you can do a CMA, right? That's important. You have to ask them to have the following paperwork available at the time of the listing. So make sure that there's a survey there, a floor plan, tax details, an extra key for the lockbox, and any other pertinent paperwork. Okay, so prior to going to your appointment, make sure you've guided your seller to be ready, okay? Pull together your marketing and demonstrate to your seller, right? So whatever your marketing is gonna be, make sure you put together your marketing package, make sure you're ready, right? Some people like to put the photo of the home on their listing package, some people just want a generic listing package. That's totally up to you, okay? But you gotta pull that together. Now, how do you create a CMA? I'm just gonna go through it very, very quickly and briefly. 1, look at street activity. 2, look at solds. 3, current competition, and expireds, terminated, and suspended. The expireds, terminated, and suspended do depend on the actual market that you're in. Because if you're doing a listing appointment in 2016, there were no expireds, okay? So don't go looking for stuff but right now, it's important to be showing expireds because people are looking for, unrealistic prices still. So make sure you have backup just in case, okay? Why would I want to do street activity though? Street activity would be whether they are comparable or not. Why would I want to do that? And something, I like that look, because that's exactly what everybody else is giving me too. It's like, I don't know.
It's just like, you wanna know that if that street is likely for buy and sell, or people are
That's a
attracted,
good
or
point, but that's not the
like,
answer.
how much traffic is going there, or how
Good
motivated.
point, but not the answer. Because that's how we look at it, right? Remember, you're doing a presentation for the seller. We're super analytical and everything, and we get it. See, exactly, I'm glad you said that, because that's what we're looking at, right? But what is the seller looking at? The seller,
Demand, nothing to do with demand, but
No,
same thing.
no, but that's good too. You see, we're thinking like realtors.
Yeah, the seller just looking to see which one sold more expensive, than compare their house with them.
The seller, I'm gonna answer that question for you guys, okay? The seller gets in their car, goes to work. They always have a pattern, right? They know what's on their street. They go to No Frills, or they go bring the kids to school, right? They know what's immediately around them. That's their reality. Their street in particular is their reality. So they're looking at their home in comparison to what their street is doing. They don't know what we know. They don't even think about it to some extent. Some people will, some people won't. So they will remember, well, my neighbor was listed. What did my neighbor sell for? Well, their neighbor's home might not be on your CMA because it's not a comparable home. So you can't answer their question. Okay, so we're looking at the CMA from the eyes and perspective of the seller.
So just everything that has sold in their area, whether it's comparable or not.
You would take their street, depending on how busy, how active the area is. There may be a couple of streets in and
In case they asked
around.
you. But you're not
Exactly.
gonna present it unless they
No,
ask.
unless they ask. The street activity, I always show it to them. I always show it. Here's what's been happening on your street. Before they ask me those questions, because they're gonna ask me those questions, that's their reality. Okay, good job though, thank you. All right, street activity sold. Obviously, we want a baseline of what's happening. And then current competition. What's current competition? Active listings. Yeah, active listings, but notice I call it current competition. Why? That's an active listing.
Well, if they were to list their house, I mean, potential buyers would be competing with their house with those other houses.
Right? Exactly, because that's exactly what the other listings are. It's competition to your client. And you want to put your client in that mindset that that is going to be the competition. Okay, it's not another listing, it's your competition. Okay, so it's really important to start setting those, planting those seeds. Any questions so far? Yes.
Is this the order you should do it in, or how do you present it?
This is totally up to you. These are, this is just just a base skeleton. You can modify, but these are, no, there is,
sold or starting with.
that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, everyone's gonna be a little bit different in how you handle it. But we're gonna get to that in a second, okay? We will get to that in a bit. Okay, when you arrive, your listing appointment starts when you turn on the street, okay? We don't know who's outside, we don't know who your client knows, right? And maybe you're yelling now that we have Bluetooth, you can really hear the conversations. Maybe you're yelling at one of your kids as you're driving up to the home, and they can see you swearing, or maybe you're arguing with a significant other, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, right? Your listing presentation starts when you arrive on the street. Okay, you have to show yourself like a professional. Don't be honking the horn, dodging the kids on the street, right? We don't know who's who. We don't know whose kid you're dodging. You don't know who you might potentially be the bird on the street too. Oh my God. Oh, that's my mother-in-law. She lives down the street. It happened to me that where Grand Genesis now is used to be a gas station. I used to go to that gas station all the time because it's close to the office. Our head office used to be at 9050 Yonge Street, so it was like right next door, right? And I remember there was this huge Hummer, and she was trying to get some gas, and so I waited because it was such a big vehicle for her, right? So I waited on the side, and I was being courteous. So she comes around. She must have been frustrated to try to put gas in that beast. She gives me the bird. All the time I'm thinking, oh, that Hummer looks like my buddy's Hummer, a buddy of mine that is a mortgage broker. And then I used to do a lot of business with him. I'm like, oh, geez, that looks like his vehicle. Okay, didn't think much of it. And I know he was getting married, right? And I was attending the wedding. So when I showed up at the wedding, guess who was the one that gave me the bird?
The bride.
The bride.
You didn't get the bird back, did you?
I didn't. I giggled at the whole thing and I thought, oh my God, isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
It's a small world. And people know us. We're quasi-celebrity-like. You know, we're putting our flyers out there. Hi, hire me, and door knocking, hi. We're quasi, you know, we're political figures. We have to be very, very careful. So that starts when you pull onto the street. As you get out of your car, look at the neighborhood and the exterior of the home and take notes of the exterior of the home. So don't just grab your stuff and go inside, right? The seller wants to see that you're interested in the area. Maybe they're watching you from inside, you know, not just to make you a little more nervous for your listing presentation. But I've given you guys a checklist here, okay? This checklist will help you with the things that you should be looking for, okay? So when you're looking, I need my glasses. I'm getting old, guys. So when I'm looking on this, there is, you can see the very first section is outside, mature landscaping, number of garage doors, brick, vinyl casement windows, privacy fence, trees, all of that stuff, right? It's a swimming pool. Hopefully that's in the backyard, not on the front lawn. But that's something that's obviously having to do with the outside. The nice thing with your checklist is the more detailed you are. The way that I used to do it is I used to fill out this checklist and then I used to give it to my assistant because I didn't worry about doing the descriptions in my listing. I would have her do that and then I would overlook it. And all she needed was this because she knew, okay, this place has this, this, and this. Okay, so it helps. It helps with your structures and what you have in place. Okay, so there it is. So take notes on the exterior. Take a look what's on the street. Are there cars that are on cinder blocks, or are you dealing with an area that you can see clearly? You know, lots of Mercedes, BMWs, and so on. I'm not just talking about this Mercedes, I'm talking about the actual vehicles. You just want to make sure you'll be able to see what's going on in the neighborhood. Is there a park, schools? Is the neighborhood, does it look youthful? Does it, you know, like it'll tell you, are there a lot of minivans? It'll tell you a lot, okay? So pay attention to what's going on the street. So now, once you go to the door, when the seller answers, obviously you introduce yourself and you thank them for having you there, okay? Because sometimes we freeze and we're like, oh, hi. We don't know what to say. So, hi, it's Sandra from Royal Page. You know, pleasure to meet you. And thank you so much for having me over. I really look forward to helping you sell your home. Okay, what am I doing? I'm soft closing the whole time. I'm assuming. Otherwise, why would I be there? I'm going to let the seller tell me no, right? So I'm just going to go on as if they're hiring me. Okay, that's really important, really important. Some people are like, oh my God, I can't do that. That's like being presumptuous. Yes, it is. Yeah, go for it. And don't worry, we're in sales. We're in sales. We got you. Would you do a good job for that seller? Yes, you would do a really good job. So why not use certain skills to help guide the situation? There's nothing wrong with that, okay? All right, so let's keep going here. Ask the seller where you can leave your items, put your things down, except for your checklist and a note board, okay?
Sorry, before we pass on to the previous subject, I would like you please repeat the same sentence you said when you knock on the door, introduce yourself. What sentence, what?
It's right up here.
No,
Let them know you look forward to helping them with the sale of their home,
Okay.
right? I know, I wrote it down on purpose because I knew someone would be asking me. Because it's important, right? It's like, oh my God, it sounds great in that moment, but then I want to remember.
Positive sentence be.
It
like when
is.
you say it's very simple, very.
It is.
nice.
That's why I wrote it down, because I know, you know, for me, when I ramble, it's important for you guys to have that. And then that way I don't have to spend too much time with, you know, that side of it, right? So there you go. And thank you for pointing that out, because I'm sure other people have that question. All right. So ask the seller to give you a tour of their home. I know that some sales gurus will say, You go take a look at the home and let the seller sit there. I disagree, right? I disagree. This is an opportunity to connect. This is an opportunity for the seller to brag about their home. This is what you want to know, you want to hear, you want them to feel good, you want them to have that opportunity. The other way around, in my personal opinion, would make the seller feel isolated. You're walking through their home, and that's kind of like, I feel uncomfortable if someone was going through my home without me there, right? I wouldn't like that. It is a personal choice. My opinion, and it's only opinion, is that you ask them to do a tour, okay? And they'll show you. And you bust out your checklist and you make notes. This here, the checklist should be on a larger piece of paper, but for the sake of handouts today, it's squished onto a smaller one. But this used to be 11 and a half by 14.
Do we have access to these, like, through the academy?
No, yeah, I've just given it to you.
But we
if you
can't go
want-
online and
No,
download?
no. These are coaching materials that I use. But if anybody's after something, email me.
Gotcha.
And the reason why I asked that you email is because I'm coaching about 40 agents, 40 to 50 agents right now. I don't want to miss anyone. Okay, so when you email me, it's easier for me to keep track. If you don't hear from me, it means I did not get your email. Okay, because sometimes that can happen. All right, let's keep going because I don't want to run out of time on you guys. All right, as you go through the home, ask them which items they would like you to mention on the MLS. So we're soft closing the whole time through. We're soft closing. So let's say, Mercedes, you're the seller, and I'm going to say, oh my God, Mercedes, I love this kitchen. These cabinets, are these oak or maple? And she would say, oh, you know what, they're oak. And I'll say, fantastic, I'm going to mention that in the listing. That's important to say, because who's got oak cabinets anymore? That's like an expensive feature. And what about the appliances? Would you like me to negotiate that in an offer? How would you like me to negotiate that for you? Okay, I'm soft closing. I'm soft closing. Some houses, guys, are going to be gross. So it's going to be hard. Like, how do I pick something and say, oh, I want to put that in the, find something, find something to say so that you can say, well, this is interesting. I like how this is blah, blah, blah. You know what? I want to make sure I highlight that in the listing. I want to make sure I highlight that when I list this property for you. Okay? So it's important to soft close it, assuming that conversation. But we're now taking certain things and we're mentioning it. And I remember, because some houses, we wish that all the houses that we sell are gorgeous, right? But yesterday, one of my agents sent me a video, and he was upset because one of the sellers goes to do an open house, and the cat is eating, I don't know, something on the front. Must have caught a bird or something. Yeah, and was eating it at the front. It was like some kind of splatter right at the front. Well, welcome to this home. So it was like all, in a panic. I'm like, I know most of these homes are not going to be exactly the way that we want them to be. It's not as glamorous as we hope. But we will get the odd glamorous home, and we will get the odd home that's like a garbage yard. Okay. I remember listing a property. It was a condo, and it was okay. It was cute, but there wasn't anything in there for me to say it was a wow feature, especially condos. Condos are like same footprint, right? And you've got maybe about 30 of those in a building. But they had this this shelving over the toilet. So I used that as an excuse. I could see it was an IKEA thing. Mm-hmm. And they didn't even fix it to the wall, but I used that as an excuse. Oh, this is adorable. I like how you did this. Now, is this fixed to the wall? Because I really, are we keeping this part of the home when I list your home? Is this going on the MLS, or is that something that you're going to be removing? Okay, and then based on that, okay, is it fixed to the wall, or, but find something. Always find something that you're going to be putting on the listing. I want to highlight that on the listing, okay? So soft closing is important. All right, let's keep going. So we already covered this. Everybody get that side of the soft closing? Okay, awesome. After the tour, return to the place where you placed your items and sit with the sellers. All right. How do you sit with the sellers? Put yourself in a position of power when you're sitting at the table. All right, so feng shui will say don't sit behind a window. I don't know, so I don't know if that's true or not, but I never take a chance. I never take a chance. So if I can, I try not to stay with the window behind me, okay? And Jackie McEachran, she once said, we were talking about this, she goes, you know, my mother taught me. And if you watch Jackie McEachran from our Keswick and Sutton office, she will always sit at the head of the table. She says, always take that position of power. Even if you're saying nothing, always sit at that position of power, okay? So that's just a little bit of an aside there. Okay, now your actual presentation. We'll go through this quickly here. This is almost like a checklist for you guys. When it comes to the checklist, you can alter it your way, but this is just a very rough checklist for you guys. All right, presentation. Give history and info about the company and yourself. This is the actual flow of your presentation, okay? Discuss company statistics and your statistics and compare them with your competitors. This is super important. You know, your average agent is selling 35 days on the market. We are selling home, or myself, my team, whatever it is, or my company, we're selling homes on average 17 days. Okay, you want to drive home the difference. Your average home is selling for 96% of asking. My listings are selling for 98% of asking, okay? It's important to show your statistics. The nice thing about the way I'm illustrating these statistics is that if you sold one property, you still have statistics, okay? If you've sold 2 properties, you still have statistics. If you sold 30 homes, you still have statistics, okay? So we're working with it. Now, if you've sold nothing, I understand, I get that. You can either hook up with an agent's statistics or use the company's statistics, focus on the company, okay? All right, but statistics are important, especially today, because they paint a picture for the client. And our clients right now are suffering because they don't realize that convenient market was now almost 3 years ago. Right? They still think, yeah, but when my neighbor sold, because that's like us, right? We sit down, we look at our kids or something, we think, oh my word, 3 years has passed by. If it wasn't for my kids, I'd never noticed time passing. You know? Yes, Sandra.
What happened if the seller asks you how many homes you have sold the last year? Yeah, and you sold none, then probably.
No, the company statistics.
But he asked you specifically,
Yourself. Yes,
Yourself.
I'm telling you, you have to defer and deflect.
So how would you answer?
How would you answer that?
I don't know. That's why I asked
Say,
that question.
we have sold this amount.
That's right.
Take ownership for the
Where do we
company.
get
take
those?
ownership.
And defer and deflect. Oh, our marketing department has them. Your manager will have them. Yeah, they're all we
Actually, I
organized. I'm gonna just hold 1 second because I'm gonna finish Anne's and then I'll get to you. So I would say, oh, well, I'm with Roy LePage and we've sold blah blah blah. I'm sure you've seen our sign. Have you seen our signs? You see them all over the place. Have you seen them? You see how you defer and deflect it?
And then what? And then after you answer that question, deflect that, and then he asks you, what about the year before? How many did you sell?
Well, that's highly unlikely, Anne.
Happened.
It's highly unlikely. Then you keep going.
Just say.
Yeah, it's all in the way that you handle it, okay? Here's one thing with human behavior. If you show that you're nervous and that you're nervous to answer a question, they will probe you even more. But if you show confidence and leadership and that you're an authoritative figure in your industry, you'll be fine. I gotta tell you, I've been in the industry 22 years. I've never had anybody question me, not even with how long I've been in the industry. Make sure that you are presenting yourself accordingly with confidence as a leader, okay? It's very important. You know, and defer and deflect again. It's just like, oh, sounds like you're like you make a joke. You know, are you interrogating me? Like make a joke, right? But this is where you have to be quick on your feet. Ask questions. Remember I said that, ask questions. So keep asking the questions. Well, I'm surprised nobody's ever asked me that before. You know, I'm not familiar. I don't know. I know that I did this award here. That tells me I've got this or whatever, right? I know I'm one of the top producers. You can rest assured I'm one of the top producers. Like whatever, right? Always defer. The funny thing is, I started with a large team, and when I started not in a very good place. And my kids were very little, and I was a single mom. And so people would say, "Are you a top producer?" Well, define top producer. In my eyes, yes, I'm a top producer. I'm one of the best agents that my team lead has. One of the best agents. I'm one of the best agents. Okay, just keep deferring and deflecting. They won't question you. Yes.
Yes, I had a listing presentation, like let's say 4 or 5 years ago, which there was 7 agents supposed to be interviewed. Yeah,
Whoa.
and who was interviewing me? He was master of sales, educated person, and he asked me that if you had any listing before or how was it? And I said yes, I had, but last year I was working with like a team, so it's kind of all working together. So I just try to turn it over the listing with the team and say, okay, so how many listings did you have? How many of them was yours only? Because when you work with a team, some of them is just with him group, and some of it is your personal listing. I think yes, I had 4 of them was mine, which I was lying.
That's
I didn't say
nothing wrong with white lies.
And with the team, I worked a few, but I didn't like the team, so right now I'm just doing it by my own. And then at the end, I won the presentation, like between the 7 of them, they liked my presentation. I'm just saying that they asking me, yourself. I don't care about your team. I don't care about your company. Yeah, I didn't lie. I didn't lie. I never forget forgive myself when I lie.
Anita, have you ever lied about your age?
No.
Or have you ever dodged that question?
No, I always.
I don't believe it.
No, trust me.
You're very good at doing this. Do the same thing at your listing presentation. Let's go to the next question. Are they going to ask you questions? Yes. Are they going to ask you questions like this? Yes. Are they going to ask you more personal questions? Yes. But it's how you answer it. That's what's important, because clearly you answered those questions with confidence.
Yeah, they told me you were the best
Out of 7.
Yeah.
Did you get the listing?
Yeah, I got
There you go. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to tell you right now that if you go to a listing presentation with a smidgen of fear, I'm not talking about excitement, a smidgen of doubt, insecurity, they're going to smell it from you. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now. The whole reason for me doing a class like this is to help you avoid that. But I can't be there for you. So you've got to take the information, you've got to absorb it, you've got to apply it. It's really important. And before you do a listing presentation, videotape yourself. Videotape. Listen to your voice if you don't feel like videotaping yourself. Then ask yourself the question, would I hire this person? Right? Ask yourself. You got technology, use it. If you're coaching with me, I'll do that with you guys. You know, but the nice thing is you can do that too on your own before you head out. Practice. Practice is so important. So important. All right, let's keep going. We've got another hour left and we're barely halfway through, but I'm glad. Lots of good questions here. Okay, so where were we at? Okay, so show them how potential buyers would see your home due to the marketing plan and efforts. So you know how some people will say, well, I do this, or I've got this, and I do the works, right? Well, why not do it a little bit differently? Because what you're wanting to do to the seller is illustrate to them how you are going to get their property noticed, okay? So do it a little bit reverse psychology. Okay, so if I were to list this home, or when I list this home, you're probably questioning, how is the buyer going to find the home? Or what is the buyer going to see, okay? At that point, grab a listing. If you have to grab someone else's listing, grab someone else's listing and make it look like yours, okay? And show them what is it that the marketing department would be doing, right, on your behalf. You've got a marketing department, right? So what do you offer in your listing presentation? What kind of marketing services do you guys offer? Does anybody know? No one knows what our marketing department does.
Yeah, that is a lot.
Yeah, they do feature sheets, they do photography, they
Maybe
do.
drone.
If you are in a listing presentation, you better know.
Yeah, Facebook, media, social media.
We actually have a
flyers.
package.
Yeah.
What's the package
Oh, the
called?
work,
The work.
The works. Make sure you practice that presentation inside out. That was, management pulled that together. Vivian called it the works. To make your lives easier, make sure you know the tools that are at your fingertips and you know them inside out, and that you would be able to display that at a listing presentation. Okay?
But like I have package, let's say which package do you want? The 1% commission package is no services like that.
Exactly. Morning, Hansel. Sorry, we're running a little bit late, and Hansel always likes to introduce himself quickly.
Well, you say hi, so I do.
Yeah. Well, I say hi because you're staring at me.
Because it's a sight to behold.
And
I'm afraid of that.
that, Ann, is how you do it. Your timing, as always, is just perfect. We were talking about deferring and deflecting, right?
Oh, yeah.
So here I go to badger him. Hansel's a good friend of mine, so I love badgering him, because I know he can take it and he gives it back. And that's how you would do it. You defer and deflect. Well, that's because, right? Good job, and thank you.
Okay.
Always at the right time.
Wait.
That's Hansel Chung. He's the Chinese guy with the German name. You didn't say it. So
I
I know.
have a good name, okay?
And he always introduces himself that way. So I figured I would do it for you.
You know,
Well,
don't
wait
say
one
that.
second. Wait 1 second. You gotta come here because I have at least 5 people on video. So if he's gonna do it, the people at home are gonna be missing. Look into the camera and say hi.
Hi, how's everybody out there today? It's a beautiful day.
We should be out there knocking on
You gotta
doors.
introduce yourself.
My name is Hansel Chung. I'm a Chinese guy with a German name. So let's say if I let's say if I cold call people and people say, okay, you want to come by? I say come by. I say, just don't be disappointed if you don't see a blonde boy with a blue eyes. Okay, don't be disappointed.
And so always a
Okay,
pleasure.
anyway,
Thank you.
have
Nice
a
to see you.
successful week. Okay, spring market is here.
I know. Thank goodness.
Okay, and
Thank
it's,
goodness.
it's busy out there.
It is. It is.
Okay.
Thank you, Hansel.
Okay. By the way, my office is right next to marketing.
You know what I like about Hansel? I tell him, come, you're on camera. Okay, hi. My name is, you're such a ham. I love it. I love it. He's always ready for a giggle and always ready. Awesome. Take good care. Bye, Hansel.
Thank you, guys.
I love it. That's awesome. All right, now I forgot what we were doing.
Number 4.
I'm getting old. Things fall off the queue super fast. No, I'm teasing. Okay, so we're talking about how people know things from or how you would be presenting your marketing from the perspective. Remember, this listing presentation is not for us. It is for the eyes of the seller. So what questions would the seller have? Like, please make sure that the way that you're handling it is always from their perspective, right? They want to see our marketing. That's great. That's nice. But can you imagine showing them how your marketing works? How the seller would be taking a look at it? That's a huge difference. All right, let's keep going. So at this point here, okay, so we've done the marketing. We're at number 4. Let them know that you will be doing a TMO and set a date and time weekly. What's a TMO? It's very important in today's market, okay? TMO is total market overview. Basically what you're doing with your seller once a week is having a conversation about how their property is in today's current market. Like, how does it sit in comparison to the current competition? So it's a CMA, but based only on the active listings that are in the same neighborhood as your client. You're going to want to set that up once a week. Okay, the nice thing is you now have video conferencing abilities. I used to have to do them by phone when I first started this. Okay, that was a little tougher. But you have video conferencing. There's a really good one. I mean, Skype will do it because you can share your screen. The other one is Zoom, zoom.us. You'll be able to share the screen with that. And I'm sure there are others, but those are the 2 common ones that people are aware of. Skype, you have to download the app. With Zoom, you send them a link and they just have to click into it. Okay, you don't have to download anything. Okay, and what are you doing there? You're looking at your property that's currently listed in comparison to the other listings that are, you know, for sale. And as the weeks go by, you'll notice, oh, maybe the price needs to be adjusted, right? So for instance, if my home is 2,400 square feet, that's a 3-bedroom, but I want to list it at 1.5, you'll say, okay, let's see how the market speaks to us with respect to that price, right? And then with respect to that price, you'll start seeing other properties at 1.5 that are 3,000 square feet with 4 bedrooms or 5 bedrooms. And then you say to your seller, okay, there's another property listed at 1.5. It's a 3,000 square foot home with four bedrooms and a basement downstairs, finished. If you were the buyer, which home would you purchase? Would you purchase the home that's 1.5 for 2,400 square feet, or the home that's 3,000, right? And some clients will say, yeah, but my home, I have this and I have that. Yes, absolutely, I respect that and I love that. Right now, we're not being sellers though, we're being buyers. And as a buyer, how would you select your choice? Okay, so when you have to do a price adjustment, because there's a lot of price adjustments happening right now, it makes it easier because you've done it with your seller as opposed to telling them what to do. Does anybody like being told what to do? Show of hands? No?
Yeah.
You like being told what to do?
No, I have a seller who wants to put me in a pressure to want anything they say I do.
Yes. And when you steer, when you lead them like this, then you make them feel, see, people are doing that. Our sellers are doing that with us because they're afraid. They want to stronghold it, right? They're afraid, so they better control the situation. When you include them in things, all of a sudden things change, okay? They're not feeling as afraid. And when you have to do a price adjustment, they don't feel like you're making them lose money. Because I can remember doing price adjustments with my previous training, and we would be trained to say, okay, adjust the price by 10,000, ask for 20,000. That way, when you go in for the 10,000, it won't look so bad, right? But this other way around, when you're doing a TMO, you're saying at this point in time, it looks like we need a price adjustment. The market is speaking to us. What are your thoughts? Because now you've included them. You're not keeping them away from that process. Okay? Once a week, you set that up with your client at the time of a listing. Okay? All right. At that point, then do a soft close. Every so often, you got to soft close it. Okay? At this point, do you feel we have the systems in place to sell your home? Right? Or at this point, you can see how we are equipped to sell your home. Is that right? Okay? So, but I've given you a little bit of wording, make it your own, but you're going to do a soft close, right? You're going to get them to say yes, because the more times they say yes to you, the better it is. So do a soft close, okay? All right, at this point now, you're going to review the CMA that we've already prepared, the street activity sold, current competition, and expireds. Include the seller in the process. This is what we're going to be role-playing. 7 and 8 is what we're going to be role-playing today. This is extremely important, okay? Normally, when we do a listing appointment, and the way that I was originally trained is you show them, right? And you lead them to a certain decision. The other way around, when you include them, you'll see, it'll be like, oh, wow, okay, I can understand. I can understand where, okay? I remember the first time I used this is when the market dropped. We were doing multiple offers. We were doing very much like what we were seeing in 2016. And that was in about 2002, and everything was selling 80 over asking, 2 days, 1 day, 24 hours. It was easy to do our jobs. We were superheroes, and of course it was easy to price because it didn't matter what we were pricing it at, it was going to sell, and we were going to end up in multiple offers. So we didn't have to do, our jobs. Now we've got to do our jobs. Now we have to educate, we have to include, we have to help. We really have to help sellers and buyers come to certain conclusions. We have to guide them through it. And the way that we do that is by educating them and keeping them educated, okay? So we're gonna be doing that in a moment. Ask the seller after. So now we do the CMA, we do our presentation. At the end of it, you're gonna say, after reviewing the facts, what do you think your home should be listed at? Okay, you're gonna ask them that question. So now that we've reviewed the facts, what do you think your home should be listed at? Right? And they'll say, well, based on the facts, blah, blah, blah. I remember one situation, the very first time I used this, my client wanted to list at 355, and the price that properties were selling at were 275. Big gap, huge gap. So after doing that with him, and I never said, oh no, you'll never get 355. I never said that. I said, well, you know what? Let's review the facts together. Let's see what we can do. I never said, no, that's impossible. Never. At the listing, well, let's see what we can do. I'll pull up the stats in the area and we'll take a look at it together. After that, I remember saying it to Carlo. I said, Carlo, after reviewing the facts here, what do you think? He goes, oh, shoot, I can see 355 is not going to work. And I said, yes, unfortunately, it looks that way, isn't it? He said, but I still want to try. I still want to see if I can get more. And I said, okay, no problem. I wanted to list at 289. If I had listed at 289 with the way the market was, he would have made $10,000 more. But he didn't listen to me. I really want to try. And I said, okay, no problem. Can we do 299? I said, well, at this point in time, we probably, we could see how the market will reply because this is your competition right now. So you're in a good position to try for a little bit higher. But once a week, I would speak with him and I would say, oh, for $299, there was a property over here that's larger than yours. Oh, that property's sold, and if you were a buyer, which home would you be choosing for $299? He goes, yeah, I get it, but I still want to try. And we went on for this for a couple of months, and guess what we sold his property for? $275. And he was fine. He was fine. Why? Because I walked him through it. I didn't make him feel like he was losing, right? I walked him through, well, this is what's going on. He had every part in the decision making. So I found it because I thought he was going to lose it, but he was like happy. Oh my God, thank you so much for everything. I was like, I could have made you 10 grand, but you didn't listen.
In CMA, it's just give them a price to when we do CMA.
Well, we're going to role play that. So I'll show you that in a second, okay? Because the idea is we already know what the property should be listed at. We've done our homework. The thing is to get their buy-in. That's the thing. But when we role play, I'll answer that question. So bear with me. Okay, let's keep going, guys. So don't forget to always be soft closing, okay? So what do you think your home should be listed at? And then you decide on a price with your seller. Guide them through this, okay? Take their price. Show them. Yes, we could get away with this, we can't get away with that. Like, show them what they could get away with and what not. But still take their price and say, we'll review this in a week. We'll see how the market is responding to it. We'll let the market speak to us. Notice I'm never saying words like price adjustment. I'm not even saying lowering we have to lower the price. We'll see what I may say we'll have to adjust the price to what the market is asking us to do, right? Like, it's always about the market, right? The market is speaking to us. Looks like the market is encouraging a price of blah, blah, blah. Looks like the market is doing this, the market is doing that. Market is not supporting this price, okay? Don't ever, a lot of times, and this is why I want to teach you guys how to role play the CMA, is for this very simple reason that most of the time we go there and say, oh yeah, I can get this. Oh, Lord. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been caught a couple of times, and I'm ever so glad I always took my client's price. There's a property here on Elmwood. It no longer exists because it was torn down. It was on Elmwood on Yonge Street, just coming off it. It was a corner property. It was beautiful. The property was like 90 by 90. And it was an old home, 2-bedroom, crawl space. It was just an old house, right? And my clients at the time wanted to sell it for $350. The highest was, and the home was like aluminum siding, no basement, nothing. But a home, the best comparable on the street, was a brick house. It was a bungalow with a walkout basement, above ground. What do they call those raised bungalows? And that was $275. So I was saying to my client, oh geez, I don't know about this $350. I said, I'm feeling a little bit concerned. Maybe we can push $299. And she was adamant. She was like, no, I really want to try for the $350. I said, okay, listen, you know what? Let's give it a go. Market is this much gambling. This is what I always say. Real estate's like this much gambling. Let's see what happens. You might pick up the right. Thank God I did. Because lo and behold, what ended up happening? Now, this would have been probably about 18 years ago. And so, land in Richmond Hill had started getting to be tight because everybody was building, right? So these infill type properties were rare. So lo and behold, Gila Caterai, everybody knows who she is, right? Brought an offer. Her clients were Persian. The guy was a builder. He didn't care. The land was worth it. He bought for under $350. Yes. He tore down the home and he built a brand new, beautiful mansion on there. So for him, he got a steal of a deal, a property like that, basically to him for $350. It was under. Can you imagine if I put my opinion in it and I said, no, $299 is it? My client would have lost money. They would have lost money. So we always have to present it like this. All right, let's give it a go. Let's see, because you just don't know. We do our best to present the facts. The reality is though, especially in residential, if you're doing commercial, that's a total different story. In residential, those highly emotional, this is homes. Someone could walk in, it smells like their grandmother, and that's it, they buy, they pay, 50 grand over.
But how do you know, like, it's a fine line of not wasting your time? It's like
The
to list
TMO.
to list a property when you know, like I had it happen in my neighborhood, and I just know that the woman's not gonna get 600,000 for her house
Yeah,
in this market.
the TMO weekly is going to assist the seller to come.
So just start with that. Well, but the thing was, I said to her though, I said, if we got an offer for $575,
Right.
would you entertain it? She said no. So she was selling for $6 and that's it.
Right,
And
because she doesn't know.
And I said, we'll have to look and adjust the price if we have no, like no one even come through the house within 2-3 weeks.
Right.
Then we'll have to do a price improvement on the house. And she was not interested in that. She wanted to list it for $6, and if it didn't sell, take
Because
it
she
off the
doesn't
market.
have enough information yet, Mercedes, that's
She
why.
said her house wasn't comparable. You couldn't compare it to other houses.
She does not know, she's not.
I'm like, it's a
They're
subdivision.
they're all gonna say that, and you
Yeah.
know what, and even when
And it
I
wasn't
had
even
the
nice.
experience of selling a couple of condos last year, and they were my own.
Yeah.
And yeah, ooh, it's like a piece of you, like, I really.
Because I walked away from it. I just thought this is really gonna be a waste of time.
No, because it's never a waste of time to take a listing. Reason being is you'll get spin-off business, okay? You
Yeah.
can do open houses, you can get buyers, you're gonna get sign calls, internet calls. You're going to get spin-off business, as I call it. Secondly, when you do a TMO or total market overview with the client once a week, you're educating them. She's making those harsh decisions on her limited experience.
Yeah.
She's not wanting to be difficult. She's not trying to be difficult. It's just in that unknown, she's digging her heels in and saying, no, this is what I want. But that's based on her limited experience. If you help her expand her experience, she will look at it very differently.
I was
Okay?
just worried too about like my reputation being in a small
No.
city and like and it's advice that I got from other agents too, like, going in,
See, those agents
overpricing.
don't know about total market overview.
Yeah. Well, we'll
Always,
see if she comes back around.
always
but-
take a listing.
Yeah.
Never say no. Never say no to a listing. I understand that sometimes they're unrealistic. I get that. But if you look at all the top producers, like, oh my God, the team lead that I used to work with, he used to take overpriced listings all the time and he closed them. He got them sold all the time. It's all the way that you handle it. And it's so funny too. Can you imagine? We're here to be of service, and just to play with the word for a second, okay? It's a waste of time, because I've heard it a couple of times. I don't want to waste my time. Well, if you focus on servicing the client and being of service, you're never going to waste your time, because that person, even let's say in this situation, let's say she never sells, and you can say, look, I would love to sell your property. The market right now is not going to support the price you're asking, and I respect that you want to give it a go. Right? I respect that. She could be a positive ambassador for you. Maybe you won't sell her home, but you'll sell someone else's. So never, ever, ever say no. Yeah, you'll get spin-off business. Don't ever forget that, right? So yeah, and then it's really at the end of the day, how well we do is up to our skill, right? How we can. We're in the job of art of communicating with people, and if you don't take it, someone else is going to take it and sell it. Is that property still?
So it's not up for sale. She wanted to get her roof done. And I wouldn't be surprised if she just calls me out of the blue, like she is a bit of a a weird one. And I did call her after I had that conversation with her, and I said, hey, listen, the spring market is really picked up. Price point, like homes are selling quickly right now in and around the price point that you want to list. So let's speak sooner than later, and let's give it a go.
Right.
And then I didn't hear back from her.
Right.
And then she told me to take me off her automated emails as well. So either she doesn't want to deal with me anymore,
Well,
or
let me
she
tell
might
you,
just,
okay,
yeah.
well, you know what, it's a possibility.
Because the sign's on her lawn to get a roof done. So I think she might just be getting the roof, and then she'll
Or
end up
maybe someone else told her what she wanted to hear or worked with her. You know what I mean when I say worked with her. So here's the other thing too. So I'm gonna use.
She's very
if I
introverted,
can-
so she probably didn't even
Well,
she'd call anyone else.
You never know.
Yeah, you never know.
You
But
never know. So, but just to play with this, if I can, because
Yeah.
this is such a typical scenario. We've all been through it as a new agent. I know I was. Here's the thing. So now you call her up and say, hey, listen, the market's picking up. We can do your price now. Now you list her home and you can't get her price.
Yeah.
Now what? She'll say, you told me.
Yeah.
I listed it because you told me I was gonna get that price.
Right.
And this is why I'm sharing this information with you guys, because I want to avoid this. We're gonna work with them. We're gonna get their buy-in. This will make more sense once we role play, okay? So let me get through it quick, and then we're gonna get to the role play, and you'll see how you can handle that a little bit differently. Mercedes, thank you for sharing that, because that's not always easy, for us to learn, but this is how we learn, right?
Yeah.
And the only way I can be effective as a coach is if you guys are out there actually doing your jobs, right? Because it's one thing for me to teach you how to swim from the pool deck, but once you go into the water, I can really teach you how to swim, okay? And that is case in point right there. All right, good job, guys. All right, let's keep going here. So we're gonna decide on a price with the seller, and we're gonna guide them through this. We're gonna do it in partnership, all right? You're cold?
Yes,
It's a bit chilly, eh? When it comes on a little bit, I'm gonna turn it off in a second because even I'm finding it's a bit chilly. All right, so decide, so guide them through this. Do the soft close again. Ask them, at this point, do you feel comfortable proceeding with authorizing me to work on your behalf? That's an interesting statement. I'm gonna turn this while you guys think about that. At this point in time, do you feel comfortable authorizing me to work on your behalf? What's that statement saying?
You're asking for permission to go ahead and list their house, so you're
Doing a little bit more. Yeah, I'm asking, yeah,
getting
you're
it
right.
done. And if they're comfortable, like about how they feel.
Bingo.
If they like, not once they gonna say positive things.
Right, if they are not comfortable, they'll say, at this point in time, I'm not comfortable. And it leaves you open to say, oh, okay, have I missed something?
What could they do to make you more?
What have I missed? I wanna make sure that you're basing your decision on information, and I wanna be here I'm here to be of service. What have I missed? What is it you need? What questions, right? Gives you a chance. Because so many times my agents leave listing appointments and they don't know why someone else got the listing. They have no idea, and then they call the agent back, or I'll call the client back and say, may I ask why you didn't choose me? Well, because you didn't qualify right in there. You didn't make sure that all of the objections were handled, all the question marks for the seller have to be handled at that point in time. Sometimes they'll say, oh, I just need time to process it. Okay. Sometimes they'll say, I'm interviewing 7 other agents. And you'll say, okay, well, where do I stand? Like, am I the first, right? Like, am I the first agent, or, well, yes, you're the 3rd agent I've interviewed. Okay, so you have other agents. There's a good chance you're gonna have other questions for me afterwards. It's a little bit, you're at a disadvantage interviewing me at this time because I'm sure you're gonna have other questions for me. When's your last interview? And they'll say blah, 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 let's say Wednesday. And say, okay, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna call you Wednesday at 2 o'clock to see if you have any additional questions for me. I just wanna make sure that you are getting all the information that you need, okay? So that's how you handle certain objections. Sometimes, well, you know what, I have to discuss it with my brother, he's on the, my mom's home, but there's all kinds of stuff. And I understand that, but this will help you to minimize any question marks that they have in their head. You want to walk away from that listing presentation knowing you answered all their questions, okay? All right, so that will help establish that. When I say proceeding with authorizing me to work on your behalf, how does that feel to a seller? Does it feel like I'm being pushy? I'm demanding? Hire me, list with me, right? I'm making them feel like they're in control. And I need them to sign paperwork to authorize me to work on their behalf. It's just the way that it's worded that eases you into it, right? Because that's always a hard thing. Okay, let's get the paperwork going. We always have a hard time with the paperwork, right? So like this, it's like at this point in time, do you feel comfortable authorizing me? Right? If they say, yeah, you know what, I do, then you'll say, okay, fantastic. All I need you to do is sign this paperwork so I can start working for you. But it's always important to say, authorize me to work on your behalf. Okay, make the seller feel in control. All right, after the paperwork is signed, inform the seller of the next step. This will reflect the action journey you have created for your sellers. So you should have a plan of action for your listings. There are some in the booklet. There's all kinds of ideas in there for listings, action items, things that you can do. The whole purpose of doing this as well was to help outline what you should be including in your listing presentation, okay? So if you have more questions, you can always set up time with me or your manager to have a conversation about that. Okay, after the listing presentation, make arrangements for broker loading the listing on MLS, order the sign, the lockbox, and communicate showing instructions with your admin or front desk. And then of course you, depending on how you're managing your business, you'll have other items, okay? So now that we've got to that point, so that is from pretty much A to Z, that's the very basic of what it is that we would be covering in a listing. Now we're going to actually role play the listing itself. There is a script here. Everybody's good to do that? We're ready, rock and roll? Okay, so when you look at your booklets, you will see that on page 5, it starts with the 1-minute presentation, and then page 6 shows the CMA presentation. The 1-minute presentation has to do more with if you know them or they know you, okay? So I'm going to teach you guys just a little bit of body language when it comes to when you're having a conversation with someone, because we want to lure them in a little bit, right? It's some neuro-linguistic programming attached with some closing techniques. So anytime I want to get someone to say yes to me, I'm going to look them square in the eye and say, isn't that true? Okay? And he automatically nods his head. He doesn't even know what he's nodding at.
And he's smiling.
Right. So, but you wouldn't want to do that now, would you? Right? And so automatically you just, it is just the way that we work. Okay? So anytime, so I know it's kind of weird.
It's funny because kids don't. I said to my daughter, I'm like, do you love mommy? I'm like, what? They don't do it.
Well, you gotta close that girl properly.
I do it, and she goes, no.
Oh my gosh, that's too cute. That's cute. She's toying with you,
Yeah.
which I think is awesome. This will work though. I assure you, it will work. Just don't use it on kids.
Yeah.
My daughter does the same thing.
Right, yeah.
That's adorable. That's adorable. But now, if that's how you're going to be closing, okay? So, for instance, list with me. Okay, so we're going to decide tonight, all right? And the facts, and you point to your paperwork, all right? So there's little things, little telltale signs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the script. I'm not going to go through all of it with you guys. I want to role play the important part. And the reason why I say that is the rest of the script, you can pick and choose whatever it is that you want to include. But talking about the CMA and including them in deciding the price, that's super important, okay? So we're gonna spend a little more time on that. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna skip the 1-minute presentation. Well, actually, you know what, let's do it just for fun. So, hi, thanks again for having me over. I'm excited about getting your home on the market and getting it sold, okay, and getting it sold. You're the one that's gonna get the job done. So anytime you want to force that you're going to, or enforce, I should say, that you're going to do it, you put your hand to your chest, okay? Do you mind if I take a quick look at your home, okay? So you take a look. I wrote down, now you're sitting down again. I wrote down 3 really important questions for you. Number 1, do you absolutely have to sell your home? Okay, and you nod yes as you look at them. And will you price your home to sell, or do you want to keep it on the market for a long time? Okay, I'm exaggerating so you get the point. Will you price your home to sell, or do you want to keep it on the market for a long period of time? Okay, we're automatically getting them to answer to you. Now, do you want me to handle the sale for you? Okay, don't forget. I know, it's like dancing. Oh, geez, how am I supposed to, I gotta say the script now, I gotta make this move. This is why it's important to video record yourself, okay, so you can see yourself. All right, so now let's get to the CMA presentation. This one here, so Mercedes, remember you were saying that some of the people that you've done listing presentations are people that you already know. You see how easy this is? You know, this is easy. This is for people that you know, all right? You can go in for the kill. But if you don't know them, then you're gonna kick into the CMA presentation. You'll notice it starts at number 4, because you have, if you wanna use the 1-minute presentation and then go in, you can, okay? So, Courtney, I'll just use your name if you don't mind, okay?
Sure.
Courtney, at the end of my presentation tonight, one of 3 things will happen, okay? 1, you'll have the opportunity to list your home with me. Or 2, you'll decide not to list your home with me. Or I'll decide not to take your listing. Any one of these is fine, okay? Now, always put this somehow, some way in your presentation. And the reason why you want to start with something like that is because you're managing expectations, all right? I'm not here to take the listing. If I think I can sell your home, I'll take the listing. If I can't, I won't. And I remember when I used to say that to people, they would be like, oh, wow. You know, I'd be like, well, we'll take a look. If this is something that I can do, if you and I mesh well, you enjoy working with me, then, you know, we'll proceed with the listing. I'm not here to force you. If I can't list it, I'm not going to. If there's something that I'm not able to do, I'm not going to. I'll let you know. People are like, whoa, right?
But then you're always gonna list it.
I do.
Okay.
I do. It's almost like a takeaway.
Yeah.
A takeaway clothes, right? You know, guys always want things that they can't have, right? That's what women love.
And girls, yeah. They both.
Nowadays it's a little bit like that too. But you know, it's a takeaway clothes, right? You always want that candy. When you start dieting, you don't give a hoot about the candy. But the minute you start dieting, all of a sudden all these sweets look really good and they appear. I don't know how that works, but it just does. Okay, so it's that takeaway. So don't forget, I'm going to repeat this part again. So you'll have the opportunity to list your home with me. Okay? You'll decide not to list your home with me. Or I'll decide not to take your listing. Anyone is fine. Okay? So now they do a quick review. So let me take a moment and review the questions I asked you over the phone. You said you're removing, blah, blah, blah. What you're doing here in items 1 to G is you are reminding them of their motivation, okay? So Courtney, you're gonna be moving to Bradford, okay? So Courtney, you said you were moving to Bradford, is that right?
That's right.
Okay, and you said you were moving because of a job relocation, correct?
Yes.
Fantastic, good for you, that's exciting. And you said you needed to be there by the end of July, correct? Whoa, okay, we better work hard here for you. And you indicated on the phone that you'd like to price your home at 1.8 million, is that right? Okay. And I never do E because it talks about the mortgage and I don't get involved with the mortgage. Now, Courtney, you were planning on selling the home yourself now, were you? No, okay. No, I'm nodding my head no, right? Because I want to instill that, that it's not a good idea to do that, right? And you did want your money out, correct?
Okay. The only way to do this correctly is go out there and get this.
Well, that's what the class is about. It's about
Okay.
role-playing listing.
The best thing I've learned from Sandra is that someone out there is gonna sell or buy a house in the next 3 months.
Go and
Yes.
find them.
It's your job.
Go get 'em.
Go get them. And it really is, it's like searching, it's a needle in a haystack. Apparently, there's only one in every 100. Thank you, Hansel. 1 in 100. Yeah, like it puts in perspective. I was coaching someone. She says, oh my God, my stats are terrible. I'm getting, 1 yes for every 100 people that I talk to. I'm like, oh yeah, you're bang on actually with your stats.
You're doing great.
Yeah, you're actually doing fantastic. And she's like, oh, okay, all right. It's kind of, it's interesting perspective, right? Okay, so number 6. Now, there's only 2 issues we need to look at tonight. Number 1, your motivation. 2,
What was G, sorry?
G was you did or did not want your money out, correct? That all has to do with mortgage. I don't.
Oh, okay.
E and G, I don't bother. I don't touch the mortgage at all because I don't want to. I just don't want to. I'm not a mortgage broker. I'm a realtor.
One of my boys actually walked away from me because I didn't have a good mortgage broker to introduce
Yeah,
them.
it's
Like I
important.
introduced them, like 3 of them, but they didn't like that.
Mm.
And then they just say, you have to have your own team and have all the, I say, okay.
But you know what? It's important to have a good number of these, especially today.
I introduced them a few, like, but they didn't like the charge they had, so.
You can't do anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can. What I found in my experience is I had someone from like major banks. So in other words, A, B, and C lenders.
Yeah.
Now, I always had a choice of those because that's what people are looking for.
Yeah.
I know, but you can't, you know what?
People are not qualified and go to the bank.
Yeah, not everybody is qualified, yeah. And then, you know what, even if they are, sometimes there's like, with the stress test.
Yeah.
Now there's like even extra costs.
Also, there is some discount fee on the broker side that doesn't have on the public side.
Yeah, I know.
My client was getting a divorce and she automatically didn't qualify. They said.
Private lenders,
Yeah.
you gotta go private lenders. Your lawyer, something I just learned, the lawyer, like real estate lawyers will always have private lenders. Always, and it's really important. And the private lenders, they're not interested in lending like small amounts of money. They're interested in the big stuff. So it's always worth a try. It's always worth a try. All right, let's keep going. There's gonna be fees attached to it, but
Higher interest rate.
yeah. But you know what, then all your client has to do is do that for a year and then she can turn, they
Even
can,
less than a year, 6 months.
well, I've heard a year.
But normally all of the private lenders
I
close the
would be-
rate up to 6 months. And
Yeah,
after
I would
6
be
months,
really
it's not.
cautious. Everybody's a little bit different, so ask the question. The 6 months is rare. It's rare. And when I say it's rare, it like if you're going to RBC now for the mortgage, they want to see you there for at least a year. At least. So you have to ask the question because some will be more or less. So always check. All right, let's keep going. All right, so remember what I was saying here, guys. So now there's only 2 issues. Number 1, your motivation to sell this home, right? And number 2, the price that we set. And you point to your paperwork. All right, and the reason why you point to your paperwork is because you're the one who has the right price. Okay, excellent. I've prepared what we call a comparative market analysis, and there's 2 parts to this research. I don't like this, but I'll role play it. One we call fantasy land. What homeowners list homes for. In part 2, we call reality. Okay, what real estate agents list and sell homes for. We're going to have to decide tonight where you're going to spend your time. Okay. Now that can be a little bit condescending. Some people you can get away with it. Some people you can't get away with that. But the point being is that you want to let them know that there are facts, and then we have to be cautious. But you don't want to, I don't want to insult people. Yeah. Okay. So be very, very careful with that. All right. The next few parts here, we'll start with 8 and 9. Talk about determining value. So if you're having difficulty with the price, the thing here is I wouldn't touch these things until afterwards, because maybe you've got someone that's super reasonable and you can go through this and everything is fine. So you may want to incorporate this afterwards, okay? But I'll say it, I'll go through it just for the sake of following the script, all right? The purpose of a comparative market analysis is to determine value of your home in the eyes of the buyer. Do you know how buyers determine value? No? Let me explain. Buyers determine value by comparison shopping. They look at the price of your home based on its features and benefits and compare it with benefits of similar homes that have sold recently or are currently on the market. Does that make sense? Okay. Some people will need that education, some people will not need it. Now, for example, if you were going to purchase a new car and one dealership had a car for $20,000 and another dealership had the same car for $20,000, but it had a CD player and fancy rims. Okay, so technology obviously has changed a little bit. Okay, so what would it be today? Bluetooth and moonroof or something like that, right? And so which car would be more valuable? Well, the one with the moonroof and the Bluetooth or whatever, right? And you ask the question why. So remember, we're getting them to do the buy-in. Now, what if the first dealership put the car with no moonroof and no Bluetooth on sale for, that should be $15,000, which would be better value then? And people will say, well, that car, because I can install Bluetooth, I can get that afterwards, right? And 5,000 is nothing, so that's a better deal. I also used to use different analogies when it comes to pricing. All right, I used to use cars is one, of course, money. So if I have $10, now it's been a while since I've had to use this, so let's see if I remember. $10 bills. I have a truck full of $10 bills. How many $10 bills are going to make? Like 100,000. That's a lot. How many is that? We need a calculator.
100,000. That'd be 10,000.
10,000 $10 bills?
Yeah.
Okay. So I have $10,000 bills equaling $100,000 for sale. I'm going to sell it to you for $120,000. People are like, what? Why would I buy that? It's overvalued, right? All right, well, let's take that same truckload of $10 bills equaling $100,000, and I'm going to sell it to you for $100,000. Would you buy it? Well, yeah, okay, it's about the same value, right? Okay, perfect. I'm going to take that same and I'm going to sell it for $80,000. Do you buy that? They'll say, yeah, right? Everybody reacted to that. Okay. Well, this is how buyers are looking at your home. Okay. And me personally, I like the money better. And I never used to take that out unless I was having difficulty with guiding them with the price. Okay. So check the flow of your discussion with people. Don't necessarily read all of this. Now, some people like using this script verbatim, and they have, and it works. So if you do that, you can get this online. There's like Mike Ferry has the script, okay? And you can actually alter it a little bit, and you can have it notes for seller, because the seller's not going to take a look at what's there. And you can actually follow your script, because it's been 20 years and I still don't have this memorized. I don't think I ever will, okay? This is a lot to remember. I know the bits and pieces, but I can't read it verbatim. So always you can put it in as part of your listing presentation, your own notes for seller. Because when if I see CMA presentation, that's going to be like, oh my God, it looks so nice, right? But notes for seller looks like I'm organized, looks like I know what I'm doing. Okay, so you can see that if you want to increase value, you need to either lower the price or have more features and benefits for the same price. Does that make sense? Right? And so unless you're planning to add more features and benefits to your home now, are you? No? Okay. Then price is the only issue. Can I show you what I mean? Now this is where I want to focus on the role play. 13, 14, and 15. If I can get you guys to circle that. Because this is the important part. I mean, all of these are important here. But this is extremely important in this script. So basically, just to read it and then we'll role play it. So see this home is just like yours. And how many bedrooms, how many baths, how many square feet? You're going through the MLS, each of them with them. Now here I've just illustrated, so I'll show you this in a second. How many square feet? Do you know this neighborhood? Have you seen this house? Now based on features and benefits of the home, your house is better This house is a little better than yours, and your house is very similar. And what price are they asking? Look how long it's been on the market, and you need to be in Bradford by the end of July, right? Okay, so now that we've read the script, we won't worry about 14 and 15. Let's talk about it. I'm gonna get you guys to role play it with me. So we have a home here. Now remember, in talking to Courtney, he wants 1.8, right? But this home here will go in the Bradford area around 1.2, okay? And you break it down. So here's your home, Courtney. This is what it looks like, okay? And we've got this home over here. Do you know this home? Have you seen this home? Playboy. No, yes, no.
Yes.
Yes, oh, so you've seen it, because it's just around the corner from you, right? Have you seen the inside of the home? No, okay. Well, this home is better than yours, okay? As you can see here, it's 3,500 square feet. It's blah, 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 blah. And they've been listed on the market for 1.7, and they've been on the market, you can see here, for 30 days. Is that right? Now, you mentioned you needed to be in Bradford by the end of July, right? Yeah, okay, so this is it, okay. Let's take a look at this home here. See, this home here is very similar to yours. 3,500 square feet, it's 4 bedrooms, same subdivision. Have you seen this home?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, again, it's right around the corner from, have you seen the inside of the home? Oh, you have, okay, good. So you know that it's very comparable to yours, right? Exactly, and you can see that they're listed at 1.2. And they've been on the market how many days? Only about 11 days, you can see here, okay? All right, now this home over here, well, your home is better than this one. They're listed at 1 million. Okay, and you can see that they are 2,800 square feet. They've got, 4 bedrooms, but still it's a bit smaller, and your home is much nicer. You've got, hardwood flooring throughout, and you've modernized your kitchen. Have you seen this home? You have, okay. Again, it's in your area. Have you seen the inside? No, eh? Okay. Well, we can see these photos here. You can see it's a little bit different, right? Well, okay. Now we got to plan this appropriately here, Courtney, because time. You need to be out of here by a certain time, right? And so we don't have time to waste. Is that right? Okay. So based on the facts here, and based on the fact that we got to get you out of here and moved into Bradford by July, what do you feel your property should be listed at?
Based on what I see here, probably 1.2 based on the similar home.
On the similar home, okay? And this is where it becomes difficult for them to say otherwise, okay?
Shouldn't that be sold, not listed? Like, are you comparing it to sold?
Yeah, these are solds,
Oh, I thought you said, oh, okay.
but they were once listed in this area,
Oh,
right?
it took 11 days to
Yeah,
sell. Okay.
exactly, okay? Any questions about that? No? But you could, just to answer also that question, or to add to it, you can include the listing, because remember, when you're doing the CMA, you're looking at, this is just like a very basic structure to it, right? You're gonna be going with that with your sold. You're gonna be going with that with your listed, right? Oh, see, this property, this is your current competition. They've been on the market 350 days, and they're at 1.7 million, and they're bigger than your home. Now, some people say, oh, I don't want to use the words bigger, yours is better, theirs is better. Yeah, I get that. Sometimes it's important to use that language. It depends on who you're talking to. It depends on, their socioeconomic class. It depends, right? And also depends on your personality. Depends on what you can get away with saying. If you can get away with saying that, then say that. And if not, you can say, I've heard some agents say, well, yours is, this home is a little more what would be called superior, or what would be called better, or the buyer may consider this to be a better home.
Better value.
Right.
More value.
Okay. So find a term.
That'd be good one someone to say, like, this
I
house is better
know.
than your house, right?
Yeah.
Even though it is.
My house is the best. What do you mean?
Right, exactly.
You
can
just hear,
poke
you
at
think
them.
some house is better than mine.
Exactly.
You hear the
But then
negative.
it depends on how you deliver it too.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, Mercedes, you see this? Okay, this home is better than yours.
Yeah.
It's on the way you deliver it, right? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, they say this is better, right? It's on the way that you deliver it. So if you've got a good sense of humor, you can get away with it. If you're super dry, if you're a top producer, who's one of these top producing teams that I'm trying to think of, that maybe someone that is a top producing team or a top producing agent that's a little bit crass, right? If you look at, sometimes you get those characters, right? And it's one of these things where the people won't care. You know, sometimes I wonder, well, how did those agents make it? Do you ever wonder about that? Right? Sometimes I wonder, what the heck? They have terrible bedside manners. They're, you know, they're arrogant, right? We look at them and go, oh, wow. But some people don't care about that. They just want their home sold. So if arrogance is your way of doing it, then that's okay too. There's no right or wrong. It's just whatever works for you. You know, someone might consider it arrogant. Another person will, you know, will experience that as you're a strong leader. You know, exactly. I remember many years ago, about 10 years ago, my dad had open heart surgery, and he had his doctor. I'll never forget. Dr. Moon was this little Chinese guy, very dry. He just straight to the point. His bedside manners. We were horrified. We were like, oh my God, God's gonna die. Because of the way he spoke, right? And we're like, oh my God, Dad, are you okay? Like, I don't know. He spoke to us kind of. My dad would be like, yeah, actually, I'm really glad he spoke to me like that. He's looking at me like I'm a car. He's just trying to fix it. And he didn't care. My dad didn't care. Just give me the facts. Show me what needs to be done. I don't need the emotions attached to it. So you see, everybody's a little bit different. So we have to pay attention to that. And when it comes to choosing a surgeon, we don't care if the surgeon is nice. We just want them to get the job done, right? So if there's one doctor and they're saying, well, yes, we need to do this, this, and this, and this to get your heart fixed, versus, well, you know what, I understand, we're going to be cracking open your rib cage to get to the heart, and perhaps if we do it like this, what are your thoughts? How do you feel about that? You're running out there. I know, that's what I'd be doing, right? So there are situations where people are very comfortable with us being direct, okay? So pay attention to, to the feel and the flow of your listing presentation. Any questions for me? No, because we're all going to do a little bit of a role play here now, okay? Actually, before I forget here. So now, we already asked Courtney, what does he feel the price should be at, right? And he can see that. So now that you've seen the prices, I'm going to recommend the price of 1.2 million. All right? And then, now here at 16, he says, all we need to do now is simply sign the contract so I can help you get what you want, the dominant one. Won't that be great? I would prefer to say, at this point in time, do you feel comfortable, proceeding with authorizing me to work on your behalf? Okay? Yes?
Do you have any tip for us to better recognizing a client who would like us to be a leader, or who that they don't like us? Like, do you have some tip for us?
You have to analyze their personality.
Yeah, I know.
So
I can
you
do
have
that,
to
but
have to.
specifically from you.
Yeah, well, I'm answering the question, right? So you have to analyze the personality. The easiest way to analyze the personality is what they do for a living. If they want to share it with you or not, right? So if I can see that the person is a teacher or a nurse, well, then I know I need to be a little more gentle because they have a softer personality. They're all about helping. If I see that it's a doctor, surgeon, lawyer, engineer, I'm not going to use like soft language with them. I'm going to be very direct, right? If I'm dealing with someone who's a musician, they're maybe a manager at a retail store or manager at the restaurant, or they're hippies, like it's clear, I walk through their house and there's Buddha all over the place, right? Incense going. Well, I know to use language where that's going to be very fair for everyone, right? And if I walk into someone's home and I can see there's zero decluttering to do, they're very clean, they're very organized, they're going to be very straightforward. Someone who's very clean and organized, I better be able to be structured for that person.
What if you're dealing with someone in sales?
Well, then you're going to know they're going to be fiery personalities. And you know that they're emotional and they don't care about the contract. Yeah, so they'll be like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm excited. Well, did you see these prices? Check this out. This guy here, they sold for this. Oh my God, can you imagine? Oh, that's crazy. He's crazy. It's crazy for doing that. Yeah, everybody's a little bit different. Good questions. Anything else? All right, good, because I wanna try this with you guys. Who wants to give it a go? All right, go for it. So all we're gonna focus on is the actual CMA. We're gonna use the same example here. So what the list price should be is 1.2, okay? And it doesn't matter where the location, but we've gotta move to another location, right? So we'll say Bradford at the end of July.
Sorry to interrupt.
Hi.
Is it Anita?
Yes.
Move your car.
Oh, okay.
Because I parked my car in a bad place, I put my business card.
Oh.
Which is great. If they need me, they can call. So.
No, that's good, no worries, take your time. All right, be safe. Okay, so those are the only things. All right, so go for it, Courtney.
So do I start from 1 or from?
No, we're
15,
only
13,
starting,
13?
yes, exactly, we're only doing that, because remember, the other stuff you guys can figure out on your own. I've shown you how to do the yes and the no's, right? But what's important is including the person in the decision making, that's what's important. Okay, go for it, Courtney.
So I'm doing with you?
Yes,
Okay, so Sandra, understand that you want to move to Bradford by July, is that correct?
yes, that's right, see, he's nodding, yes, that's correct,
Amazing.
awesome.
Now, as you can see here, your bedroom has, your home has 4 bedrooms,
Yeah.
3,000 square feet, and that was the 1.2, and we're thinking about selling for 1.2?
1.8.
1.8, you
Yes.
wanted to sell it for 1.8 million,
Right,
correct?
right.
Fantastic.
You crazy girl, no.
Let's take a look at.
This is what we really want to say.
So let's take a look at some of the other houses that sold in your area.
Okay.
So this home here,
Use the direct language, and then you can flower it afterwards. So this home is better.
this
than
one
yours.
here is better than yours. It has 3,500 square feet, 5 bedrooms, 4 bath, finished basement, and it sold for $1.7 million, and it stayed on the market for 30 days.
Oh, okay, all right,
Right.
excellent.
Fantastic. This other home here is very similar to yours, Sandra. It's 3,000 square feet, same amount of bedrooms as yours, and it sold for $1.2 million in 11 days.
Fantastic. Well done, Courtney. I love it. I'm sucked in, and I'm just doing a role play. Very
Now,
well done.
Now this last one here, Sandra, is not as good as yours. Your home is much better than this home.
Mhm.
It only has about 2,000 square feet. It's down the street from you. You've probably seen it before.
Yes, I have. Yeah, I
Fantastic.
drove by it.
Awesome. It's right down the street from your home. It only has, like I said, 2,000 square feet, 3 bedrooms. It stayed on the market for 32 days, and it sold for $1 million.
Okay, excellent.
So based on what we see here, Sandra, what do you think your home will be worth?
Excellent. Oh, very well done. Very well done. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you what I really liked about what you did. You were calm, you were consistent, the eye contact, you were smiling, you were like, and you're like, oh, you've seen that home. It's just right around the corner from you. Very, very well done. And you know how sometimes we have to say, and you said you needed to be in Bradford by July, right? So you're always gonna wanna be like, almost like acting, shoot, okay, now you did mention that you needed to be Bradford, July, okay, the timing is a bit tricky. Okay, you wanna just kind of, you don't wanna say, you need to be in Bradford by July, is that right? Like the way that the script says, right? Because that's what the
Never
script
gonna
says.
get there.
Right, exactly. Like in the case of this lady.
Yeah.
Okay, in the case of that lady, I don't know how the CMA was done, but if the CMA was done this way, do you think, I'm just curious, would she have a different approach to?
Well, actually, I did do the CMA. Like I got another agent to come with me because it was my first week when I started. When I met her at an open house.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
and she said, "Can you come over to my house now?" And I was like, "What?" Like I literally just started that weekend. I'm like, oh my God, I almost died. And I called Hannah and was like, Hannah, I need your help. I just met this girl and I tried to keep deferring it. Like, well, I'll give you a call. And she's like, okay, just come. Can't you just come over when you're done? And I was like, I think I can. I have another appointment, but let me see if I can make it work. Just give me your number and I'll call you. And then I did. And Hannah
You
was
were
like,
dealing with a loose cannon.
yeah. So then Hannah luckily came with me and she's like, okay, no problem. Tell her we'll meet her at 4:30. Meet me at the office quick. And we did a quick CMA.
And how was the CMA presented?
Yeah, I mean, kind of similar. Like we showed her houses that recently sold and where her house kind of fit into that price. And we said, well, what price do you see your house selling for? And she wouldn't give us a price. She just kept saying, good price. I just want a good price. And
Okay,
we said, well, what is a good
that's
price?
a good sign because
Yeah.
she doesn't buy in. She doesn't buy in.
Yeah.
So she does not think that the price that she wants is gonna fly, but
Right,
it's
she
fine.
just kept saying,
Yeah.
yeah, I want
I
to
just
sell
want
it,
a
I
good
just want a
price.
good price.
Mhm.
What is
So-
a good price to you?
Right,
And we tried and we still couldn't. Now I know where she's at. but it
right.
took-
But you
That was
see,
in August.
there's a sign, that was quick.
Yeah.
But that's a sign right there
When I
you're like,
showed her it, yeah. and she was
Exactly. Exactly, so now she's starting to click, okay, this is not gonna work, so she actually now has that in the back of her head.
So we
that's a
said,
good
we'll let
sign.
you know when we can get a good price and when things change, we'll be in contact with you. Kind of how we.
But you know what, see, the funny thing is, I know, like, don't forget my Elmwood story, and
Mhm.
it's a couple of times that I had egg on my face.
And I didn't, you know what, I just, my advice was, you know, they were like, you could take the listing, but you know, honestly, Hannah's like, I don't want your first listing to be this hard. And she's gonna be a very difficult client.
And then that's a business decision,
Yeah.
but I would have.
But I will, but I will take it now.
Yeah.
When she does call me, if she does, I might have lost it. I've decided, because another younger agent who's more like, just take it. Are you kidding me?
Oh
You'll
my
do open
God.
houses, get your sign on the
Well,
lawn.
you know,
It's
it's
my
exactly,
neighborhood too, like
exactly,
down the street from my house, so it makes me look,
exactly.
and it was a totally different perspective just by
And it's
asking
funny,
someone else.
it's funny how, and it's interesting, because Hannah's been around a long time, she's a
Mhm.
strong agent, she's
So I
a
would've
really
thought.
good agent.
I wouldn't ask the person that I
And
got
so,
with them.
yeah, and she's making decisions based on her own experience and what she would be able to
Mhm.
handle and not handle.
Mhm.
And she's absolutely right, she's saying it's a tough listing to get, and that's your first listing. The funny thing is, I remember my first listings, I didn't care.
I think to add to it too,
I
the
didn't
open
care.
house, yeah, the open house I was doing, she just put a lot of money into that and it was overpriced and it wasn't selling. So
Yeah.
I think probably it had something to do with, I've taken an overpriced listing, here you can see I put
Right,
$5,000.
it's based on her own experience
Yeah,
and what she
5,000 into
feels.
staging that house and now it's off the market, didn't sell, and she was at $5,000, so she's
Yeah, which is-
advising me, like she
which
didn't want me
can
to make that mistake, right?
happen, which can happen. If you decide to do staging, guys, don't front the money. Have the seller front the money and you will discount, you'll reimburse it off
If
the
it sells.
commission, that's right, if it sells. I had that happen to one of my agents too, $3,000, she was out of pocket,
Yeah,
that's not cool.
yeah,
That's not
especially when
cool.
you're a new agent and you don't have it.
No,
to take that
exactly,
chance, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
But I do remember, and it's funny because we almost have to keep, those of us that, the senior agents, we have to always have that little bit of that spark always in us, because I remember how hard I worked to get this one listing appointment. When we arrived, it was like Sanford and Son house. Does anybody know Sanford and Son? I started dating myself. It was a TV show back in the 70s, and it was a guy, he lived on a junkyard.
Oh my God.
So you go in the house, you just don't even know where to sit because his kitchen table was there, but then the kitchen chairs were all different. Some of them were busted, some of them were not. Like literally, it was a junk house. And he was saying that, like on the phone, he made it sound like, oh my God. He goes, well, I do a lot of by trade. I do marble work.
You're expecting marble
Yes.
counter.
Yes, he goes, and I trimmed my driveway with marble.
Wow.
Yeah, right? I trimmed my driveway with marble. The curbs are nicely accented. And in the basement, there's a hot tub. I put a nice hot tub in the basement. And I did a nice entranceway where I accented it again with my marble work.
Wow. Yeah, you're thinking like that.
Wouldn't you think?
Yeah.
Automatically you start thinking of,
He
something
did a
like
good
you
job
would see-
selling you.
something you would see in LA or something like
Yeah.
that, right? Then I arrived and yeah, he had marble, but literally what he had done was he had taken the
Marbles.
concrete. No, I wish, but at least that would have looked nice. At least it would have been systematic. But you know the concrete, when you have the rough concrete, there's a rough concrete and then a more of a polished
Yeah.
concrete, like a thinner concrete. Well, this was the rough concrete, the one that you put under, and then you put the finer one on top. So it was the rough one, so it showed all the stones and sand and, yeah, and then he literally dropped chunks of broken pieces, like little pieces like this. Yeah, crumbs of marble all over the place. I was like, oh, this place needs to be torn up.
Oh my God.
And then he landscaped it and he had like, the CDs, 1, 2, 3 hanging like, twirling.
Like to reflect the sun.
Like a
And then
sun.
every so often you'd see a hunk of the concrete with that damn thing in his garden
Oh, God.
with the, crumbs of marble. It was disgusting. You go inside, furniture that was collected off the street, I am convinced, and the kitchen chair. So now I'm like, well, where the hell's this hot tub? I wanna know. So we go in the basement. It was like, I wish I could say it was something out of Austin Powers, because that would have at least would have had character, right? So you walk in, he's got this big rec room, and the carpet is, it's like, it's that mustard from, I don't know what era that was, bless you. It was that era of something like disgusting. So so it's all that mustard, oh God. And then I'm like, where's the hot tub? Because I was expecting something sexy, right? So there's a room that you walk into and had that archway with that beautiful matching marble accent that he had in the driveway all around here. Then there was a curtain, but like it was a shower curtain with the balloons. You remember how the balloons, shower curtains used to be in style? The pink was a pink, and literally with the shower curtain rod and back and forth. You open it and ta-da, there's the hot tub right there. So I'm like, oh, this is wonderful, this is great, and I'm all excited to list it, right? Because you can sell it, depending on the price, you can sell anything, right? My team lead, who is a top agent still today, and he always placed about 3 or 4 in Ontario. He's like, get the hell out of here. He goes, I'm gonna do it really quick, and I'm getting the hell out of here. We're not taking this listing unless he wants my price. And so he sits down, and the guy had to find me a chair. He goes, don't sit in that chair. Okay, he grabs another chair, and he goes, okay. He's checking for sturdiness. Yeah, okay, this is good. You sit down here. Oh shit, now it's got cat hair on it. Okay, make it another chair. Like, this was the listing presentation. This is what we were doing. And finally he sits down within seconds, boom, 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 boom. He doesn't even care. Here, this is my information. This is who we are. This is what we sell. To date, we've sold 300 homes. And your home should be listed at blah, blah, blah price. And the guy was like, no, I want to get more. I have all that marble. And the agent, he said, that's garbage. Okay, it's garbage. It does not look the way that a buyer would. I was like, I lost the listing. And I was mad at him. I'm like, why didn't you want to take the listing? Because that's too much work. It's too much work. He's not realistic. Let somebody else do it. But see, from the point of view of him, he's already done maybe 50 deals that year. And I was like, new. I was like, that's my.
It's the stage of your career, doesn't it?
Right. Now, I totally relate to him. I'd be like,
Let it be late.
I wouldn't even take my shoes off. I wouldn't even take my shoes off in that situation, right? So it depends on that perspective of where you're at. And you know what? Everything is a business decision at the end. And with this lady here, you could say, you know what? I would love to help you. You have a beautiful home and you're a lovely person. I don't feel I'm qualified because the market would not support a price like this. And I'm not saying that you can't sell your home at this price. It's just, I don't feel like I'm the right person for you. And you walk away and you leave yourself positive, right? You
I
leave
think you
yourself
have to take those experiences. I have another quick story. I actually just sold my first house and it just fell through.
Oh.
Yeah, but, and again, like veteran agents of the office advised me not to go near it, the buyer, with the divorce and everything else. And
Divorces are hard.
yeah, and so they gave me their reasons and I thought, you know what, until I do it, I won't know why. So I'm just gonna live through other people's experiences.
Right.
And I really did take it with a grain of salt to spend a lot of time. We got the property, we put the offer in, conditional upon the sale of her house. Her house doesn't go for sale because her husband's in control of it.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden the other agent's on me like, well, house isn't even for sale. What's going on, Mercedes? And I'm going, it's complicated. I told you from the beginning it's a divorce. She wanted a mutual release. So we're not signing a mutual release. We're going to get the deal done. Let me do my job. I worked, and then the husband was buying her out. Then all of a sudden they wanted a divorce agreement and all this stuff in place, and it finally just was not going to work out. But honestly, I learned so much, and everyone's, oh, that's so shitty. I said, honestly, here I did.
That's how I look at it.
I ordered a status certificate. I did, waivers and notice of fulfillments, and I went through the whole motion of the deposit. Oh, and then she didn't have the deposit because the husband went and spent the money so she had no deposit. We scrounged together $5,000 over 48 hours. Everything went wrong, and I was advised that it would, and it did. But honestly, I think I learned it's like I did 10 deals from.
But that's the thing.
I did learn a lot, and now I know the next time around when this comes, how to guide the client. And I kept guiding her, saying, listen, we really, before we put this
offering, we need to get our ducks in the row, I don't think we're ready, but she was gonna go to someone else if I didn't do it for her.
Yeah.
And I thought if he could see another agent get this deal done, and I just took someone else's advice again, didn't do it.
But you know what, that's how we learn, and you have to experience it. It's no different than what I was saying to you guys earlier. I can teach you how to swim from the deck of the pool.
Yeah.
But the best way is when you get in the water,
Yeah.
and you gotta make these, there's no such thing as mistakes, and there's no such thing as failures, right? Like I do a lot of work with Napoleon Hill in my mastermind groups, and Napoleon Hill talks about failures. He said, when you have a failure, notice I put it in quotation because I don't see it as a failure, neither does he. The failures, I mean, okay, it didn't go as planned, but it's up to you now how you label those results. If you want to label that result as a failure, then so be it. If you want to label it that way, right? But if you want to label it as, look at what I learned, I didn't know about this, I didn't know about that. And you know what's so important is you now will see the signs next time. I've been through situations like that. I actually have a listing right now, and it's a divorce. So when I was telling you where one of the agents went to go do an open house, and the cat was eating, he filmed it. I'll show it to you. I don't know what the cat was eating. He's like all grossed out, and he's like in the car. I'm like, I thought it was funny. Let's see here. So what are you gonna do? Like I don't know. Let me see if I can get there.
Gosh. That's
This is on the porch of the house,
That's on the front door.
Oh, man.
and he's going into an open house.
Oh.
Yeah. So I don't know what that cat was eating. I have no idea.
Some carcass.
Right? It's all splattered. I didn't hear that before. I didn't hear that before.
Just like came out like a gas from it.
Because how do you, like, it is gross. Like, let's be realistic.
And what do? You have to
You gotta
get
go
rid of
in.
that,
You sat in the
and you
car
gotta get
until
rid
the
of
cat
the-
was done.
and you gotta clean up. If the cat didn't get it all, you gotta kind of sometimes.
That's what he did. He took the carpet and he moved it to the side and went in. Like,
Yeah.
we had to wait for the cat to finish. But these are the things that we deal with, right? It's funny. I think it's funny. But what are you gonna do? You gotta roll with it.
Yeah.
But this is a divorce, and to be honest with you, because the husband called it quits, and he called it quits because there's a lot of people in the house that are on her side, like her mom, that's handicapped, the grandmother that's in her 90s, and then they went and had a baby, and the house was always dirt, and he's like, I don't want my baby in this dirt. Like, I'm done. Either you clean up your act or I'm leaving. So she didn't clean up her act, and so now he left, right? Because he figured, well, I can't control, but at least 50% of the time I can show my son what it means to live a clean life. That's one way of living, but that's not the way of living. So I believe that she's kind of trying to kamikaze it so that she can stay and have him pay her out. Or wait a second, she has to buy him out. Not that she'd be able to, but that's what I think she's working on doing it, quite honestly. And you see the signs because she doesn't want to move, right? And like, really, you can't.
Was it court ordered or?
No, but they have to because mortgage is coming due. So they have to send, so you're gonna get all kinds of stuff. Well, guys, that's it. We're all done for today. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure to get to know you guys and have some fun. Before we go though, does anybody else want to give it a go to try? Courtney, thank you so much for doing that nice demo too. Everybody get the concept though? Yeah, because this is so important. It's such an important part. And role play with each other when you're doing a listing presentation. Don't wait for you to get the client. Go in and do the process before, practice before. Get your listing presentation ready. Especially as new agents, we have that time to do it now, right? And practice it, because what I find with my new agents is they don't do it because like they won't close the deal because they're afraid to do the listing appointment, right? Because I don't know what to do, so I'm not gonna do it. Right? So don't do that. Practice and get to know it, okay? All right, guys. Good luck to each of you.
You were
Yes.
saying that you have a listing
Thank
presentation.
you.
Do you
Thank
ever
you.
post that template for a listing presentation? Just email
I
me?
do.
Okay.
Yeah, email me and I'll send it to you.
Actually, I wanted to give my email address here
Ah.
again.
Okay, the challenge is I need you to email me because I get so many of these. Hopefully I won't forget. But
I
the email
do,
address is
yeah.
coachsandra@gmail.com. Okay, so make sure you email me because I'm gonna take that list, print it, and I'll have them sent out.
Okay,
All right, I'll try not to forget, but if you're, you know why, okay? Only because I get too many, and I can't keep track.
Yeah.
I mean well,
No,
but
if
I
I
have to have a
receive,
system.
if I receive it for sure, I will reply and say thank you.
I know, and I hope I don't forget, but I have a system on purpose, right? Right, it's like, that's how it is, it's all about
I try
systems,
to
right?
do
I
good on your
appreciate
own.
that, I feel bad, I don't wanna miss anyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mitra, take care. Mitra, did you need me to call you still?
I will,
Okay, thank you so much, darling, thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Sandra, do you have a couple minutes?
Of
I just went to a
course,
meeting.
yeah.
Thank you very much for your time.
Hey, are you kidding? My pleasure. Always nice to see you. Before you do that, let me, because we're still live.
Yeah. Oh,
Let
yeah.
me, yeah, so I don't want, oh, and not those shoes. Those shoes are adorable.
So comfortable.
But they're pretty too.
yeah.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Good luck.
Bye, take care. You too.
It does, yeah. I know, I tried to get some more of them, but they're last year's, yeah.
I let the.
No,
Real,
this
yeah.
is gonna work.
So good meeting you. Take care.
Yes, nice to meet you too.
Thank you. All the best. Take care. Good meeting you. Good meeting you. All the best, guys.
Thank you, Sandra.
Take good care. Bye,
Okay.
guys.
Yeah, bye-bye.